Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. So we're going to start, inshallah, part 2. And again, I want to just remind everyone where we are in our outline. We covered sort of why this topic, and we talked about how knowledge is often framed. We frame messages that we take in from the environment. And this understanding of the Nafs, we created a frame around it, and we said it's necessary to understand and to fulfill our purpose in life, to have good character, to have meaningful relationships and meaningful action, to love Allah and be loved by Him. And for so many other reasons, this knowledge is important. And we began with our understanding of the Nafs by looking at it in the context of our psychological system. How does the Nafs fit in with our mind and our heart? What role does it play? And we compared it sort of to a 2-year-old who, when they're not disciplined, they just jump up and shout and scream and desire things and want to run after their basic urges without really any thought for the consequences of their actions or for whether this is the right time or place, or definitely in that matter for how this is going to help them get closer to Allah. It's just not on their radar. And that's how the Nafs is. It's part of how the Nafs was created. And we were meant to have a Nafs. Allah created us this way and gave us the freedom, quote unquote, to choose. And that is the whole essence behind the responsibility that we bear as humans. So inshallah, we're going to go on and look at the states of the Nafs, the manifestations and tendencies of the Nafs, talk about how we purify the Nafs, and then have some discussion, inshallah. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, the Nafs is mentioned in the Quran in various contexts, but in this psychological context of the Nafs being that part of us prone to base desires, there are numerous verses that talk about the Nafs as such. And there are also numerous verses that talk about different kinds of Nafs and different degrees of our Nafs. And so much of what we know of the Nafs comes from the Quran. It comes from the Sunnah, the Ahadith, the Prophet's examples, and the way that he advised and admonished his companions. And our scholars have written much about this topic. And there are thousands of pages in volumes that deal with the Nafs either directly or generally speaking, and how we purify the Nafs. So some of the states of the Nafs that are mentioned in the Quran, the first of those is in Surah Yusuf, the wife of the Aziz, the wife of the official who takes in Yusuf. When she is told, you plotted against Yusuf, you did this, and she confesses. And it's probably like a big burden has been lifted off of her shoulders, and she says, yes, it was me, and he's innocent, and he didn't do anything. And then she says this really interesting statement. She says, and in no way do I acquit myself. Surely the self, the Nafs, indeed constantly commands to evil deeds, except that on which my Lord had mercy. So she says essentially the self is created as an advocate of vice. It is created to do evil things. That's just that part of us. Except those that Allah has mercy on. Illa rahima rabbi. Except those that Allah has bestowed His mercy on, and they have sort of, either their Nafs doesn't pull at them in that way, or they have elevated their Nafs, and we'll see how that's done, so that the Nafs doesn't command or pull them in that direction as much. And then she says, and this is something we should always remember, surely my Lord is ever forgiving, ever merciful. So she recognizes, I've made a mistake, and it's from my own self, and I take responsibility, because you know what, the self is just like that. But I'm stepping up to that, I'm owning up to that, and I know that Allah is ever forgiving, ever merciful. The other type of Nafs that is mentioned in the Quran is mentioned in Surah Al-Qiyamah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا أقسم بيوم القيامة وَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِالنَّفْسِ اللَّوَّامَةِ. So Allah swears in the beginning by the day of resurrection. I swear by the day of resurrection. And I swear by the nafs illawama. Nafs, the self, that is self-blaming. Loom, when I say, oh, ana balum nafsi, that means I blame myself. Loom. If I say there is loom on you, there is blame on you. So when I blame myself, the self-blaming nafs now realizes, oh, wait a second, I'm not such a rosy character after all. The self now is realizing that. It realizes, no, I do tend toward vice. I do tend toward evil. And it starts to now be watchful of itself and hold itself a little bit more accountable and blame itself. Blames itself. So it's kind of like a second degree or a second state of consciousness in the nafs. The nafs, maybe in its completely undisciplined form, is just doing evil things and tending to do evil things and wanting to do evil things. The person may or may not carry those out, but the nafs inside of that person has what it wants. As it gets more knowledge and it gets a little bit elevated, it starts now to blame itself and say, hey, some of those thoughts are not so pure. So that's the nafs al-lawwama. And then there is the nafs at peace with itself, and nafs al-mutma'inna. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-Fajr that on the day of judgment, to the righteous souls it will be called out, O nafs that is at peace with itself, O reassured soul, return to your Lord well pleased and pleasing to Him. Ya ayyatuha al-nafsul mutma'inna irja'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyya. It's a beautiful verse. It's a beautiful verse, and we pray that we can, through this knowledge, elevate ourselves so that now we, our nafs on the day of judgment, is in a state of tama'nina, is in a state of peace with itself. Because it knew that it was evil, it knew that it had evil tendencies, and it started blaming itself a lot and saying, look, you need to rectify yourself, you're not so good, you need to work on yourself. And it strove and it struggled and it worked all its life. And now at the end, Allah is saying, now you've reached that state of peace. So we pray to be among those. Now, this is how it's directly mentioned in the Quran. But scholars like Imam al-Ghazali and more contemporary scholars like Mokhtar Maghraoui, what they have done is they've broken down the nafs a little bit further. They've discussed it in a little bit more detail and talked about the tendencies of the nafs, how the nafs manifests itself. And at the end of these presentations, I have the references listed. I highly recommend as an introduction Imam Mokhtar Maghraoui's lecture series, and it's called, I'm forgetting the name, but it's about Islamic psychology, essentially. And it's really useful as an introduction, and a lot of this, like I said, comes from that. So this was just sort of to remind me to mention how much scholarly work is written about the nafs. And inshallah we will get into some. So what are some of the tendencies of the nafs? You all remember that schematic where we had the heart, and we had the brain, and we had the nafs, and the nafs was that big triangle. Well, that triangle isn't just one monolithic whole. My nafs is not the same as your nafs, is not the same as your nafs, is not the same as your nafs. All of our nufus are a little bit different. And they have different makeups and tendencies. So it's really helpful to break it down and understand what makes up the parts of the nafs. So the nafs actually has the potential to be angelic. It has the potential to be good. But it needs to be polished and purified to reach that state. The nafs has tendencies that can be described as predatory tendencies. Imam al-Ghazali calls them ferocious tendencies. The nafs has tendencies that are cattle-like. And we're going to break each of these down and talk about them specifically, but this is just an overview. And the nafs has tendencies that could be described as devil-like, as shaitani, similar to the tendencies of a shaitan, of a satanic figure. So this is really what that big triangle in the schematic should have looked like. There are various components to the nafs and different ways that the nafs will materialize or will manifest. So the cattle-like nafs, this is kind of my favorite nafs to talk about. Cattle here is talking about grazing animals, like cows, sheep, and chickens. And humans generally like to think that we're really above them, right? We're just so much more dignified and noble and sophisticated than a herd full of cows or, a coop full of chickens, right? We're humans after all, and we have minds and logical abilities. Well, let's ask ourselves, what makes a cow happy? Imam al-Ghazali talks about this. It's really interesting, but I decided to do some contemporary research, and I just Googled, what makes a cow happy? A really interesting article from Dairy Herd Management. And it says, removing the obstacles, how to make cows happy. And I just thought this was really, really insightful because the cattle-like nafs wants, I'll tell you what the cattle-like nafs wants according to Imam al-Ghazali. It wants to eat, and it wants to drink, and it wants to be lazy, and it wants to be passively entertained, it wants to be comfortable, it wants to fulfill its base physical desires whenever it wants, whenever it feels. So this article about cows was saying that if you have a cow that's stressed out, it's not going to give you very good milk. It's not going to give you very much milk. So it behooves the farmer to make their cow happy. And how do they make their cow happy? Well, they give them easy access to their feed. So the feed's laid out in front of them like a buffet. Buffet? That's a human invention. Their drinks are laid out for them. Easy access to their drinks. The refillable cups at Soup Plantation. I'm just thinking, we've invented a lot of these things, right? They have comfortable lodgings, places where they can rest and graze in the sun and sleep on these comfy beds of hay. And then they get to just be free to carry out their instinctual desires. That's what makes cows happy. That's what they said, makes cows happy. And here we are, humankind, institutionalizing things that make us happy just like cows are happy. So we have an overemphasis on food, on quantities of food, and on qualities of food. My God, just watch the cooking channel shows. And then it's you watch the chocolate and it's being poured up and it goes home. And it's whoa, that's pretty decorated and lavish for just something that I need to keep me alive, right? So an overemphasis on food, an overemphasis on drink. It just blows me away how many choices there are of drinks. I was looking for a low-calorie, just drink that was not caffeinated. And I got dizzy at the store looking at all these different things. And I swear I ended up buying something and it had alcohol in it. And I returned it. I was like, you guys can't put this with all the juices. What are you talking about? There were so many different choices. I couldn't even figure out what I was buying. And then this juice, it has a very negligible amount of alcohol, though, and I saw that, I just returned it. I was like, I'm not going to drink that. But I'm just saying this because I ended up buying something I would never have bought ordinarily from just the dizziness I was in from the overabundance of choices of drinks. It was ridiculous. I just wanted something simple. Overemphasis on drink. Cattle-like tendencies inclined to laziness. We just want the most comfy kind of bed and the most comfy kind of covers. And we just want to be comfy. And that's that cattle-like part of our nufus. In Arabic, it is the bahimi nafs, like a bahim, like an an'am. Allah says in the Quran that they are like an'am, bel hum adall, that the people who refuse to follow this guidance, they are like cattle. Actually, they're worse. They're worse. Because cattle, this is all they were created to do. But we are not created to live like this. We're not. So when we allow this part of our nafs to become overdeveloped, The only happiness that we will have in life, we will be as happy as a cow. That's our maximum. We will not feel happier than that. We will not achieve a bigger or better or grander state or be more connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than the cows are. Seeks passive entertainment. Video game industries and movie industries and television industries and, my God, and Netflix. Netflix just keeps going. I don't have Netflix, but I've heard that once you put Netflix on, it just keeps going. It doesn't stop. One thing after the other thing after the other thing. It seeks to fulfill its base desires. And like I said, what has happened is there has been a lack at the individual level of purification of the self. So this has become overdeveloped in humanity. And humanity, with its communities now, has institutionalized this type of tendency and made it into a whole lifestyle. We live in a country that caters to this part of our nafs. And if we let it, this part of our nafs will take over our lives. And it will be very hard to focus in prayer. And it will be very hard to understand why we were here or why we were created in the first place. Because these things will blind us. So that's the cattle-like nafs. We don't want this. We don't want this. We don't want our cattle-like part of our nafs to be overdeveloped. It will wreak a lot of havoc in our lives. So the predatory nafs, this is another type or another component of the nafs that can be developed. Remember the story about which wolf wins is the one you feed. So in addition to the cattle-like tendencies, this nafs is inclined to covetousness. It's inclined to taking things. You could say it's inclined to killing, but it's not just a violent nafs. It's a nafs that wants to prey on others. It wants to take what does not rightfully belong to it. It wants to usurp people's property, and it wants to take their rights. So in our society, we can think about it that way. The person who wants to take advantage of the people around them, they don't care about what their feelings are. They don't care about their rights. They want to make sure that their own selfish needs are met. It commands the person to commit excesses, even violently. So this is the predatory nafs. And this is a picture of a hyena, and this is a friendly picture of a hyena. When I look for pictures of hyenas, subhanAllah, they are vicious predators. They are. They can be nice and loving when they have babies with their kids. I mean, they're not always vicious, but when they go out to hunt, they are vicious predators. And they're scavengers. They will take what isn't theirs. A herd of lion might kill something, and they will just go in and take it. They don't care. So like a hyena, this part of the nafs wants to take advantage of the weak. It wants to steal from others or take by force. It is prone to violence, and it will use brute force, whether emotional force or physical force, to get its way. So we don't want this part of our nafs to become overdeveloped. We don't want this part to be what characterizes our nafs. There's also a devil-like nafs. Now this is very different. It might seem like devil, predator, they're kind of the same. Predators are more in terms of taking the rights of others. The devil-like nafs is much like Shaitan. Shaitan was deceitful. He wanted to deceive Prophet Adam, and he is deceitful. He tries to whisper to us and deceive us. In Arabic, the word about Shaitan is described as al-ghurur, the person who tries to deceive people. He's arrogant, seeks to subdue others, and is power hungry. So this part of our nafs is the part that wants to take over the project just because we think we can do it better and we don't care. It wants to be in charge just for the sake of being in charge. It's the one that wants to spread malicious rumors and deceive people into following its way. It's the nafs, or the component of the nafs, that was evident in people like Fir'aun, who wanted everyone to worship him. So that's this part of the nafs, the arrogant, deceitful, power-hungry component. And so these tendencies are like those exhibited by Shaitan, inclined to inciting violence, encouraging evil, spreading hate, disrespecting the sanctity of what Allah has prohibited, prone to anger, easy to enrage. When we feel angry, a lot of times it feels like fire. It feels like fire in us. This is that part of our nafs, that devil-like component of the nafs that makes us feel that just enraging, fire-like feeling. So again, we want to be thinking about these things in terms of ourselves, but sometimes it's really tempting to think about people in the public sphere and say, oh, that person, this nafs is so overdeveloped in them. So may Allah guide us all. And lastly, so this is like again a schematic of what that would look like when the devil-like portion of the nafs gets overdeveloped. And then the angelic nafs. So this is a component of our nufus. And our nafs has the potential now to develop this part of it. So this is the part of the nafs that is nourished by divine guidance. Earthly delights are not the source of its happiness. It seeks to know Allah, and it delights in the love of Allah and in closeness to Him. So this sounds a lot like the heart. Well, this component of the nafs, when the nafs is polished and purified, the lower components of the nafs are in check. And this is the component of the nafs that can now affect the heart and be in line with the heart. And so it would kind of look something like this, where you have disciplined the nafs enough that it has now taken on that nafs al-mutma'inna. It is a nafs at peace. It wants to follow Allah's guidance. So all of us want to discipline our nufus. We all want to reach a state of peace where we are seeking to be close to Allah, where we are seeking the love of Allah. But sometimes we don't know how. And I'm going to talk a minute about what we can do and how exactly do these parts of our nafs get manifested, and how does shaitan use these parts of our nafs to make us go astray? What is shaitan's power over us? One of the things that I didn't, and Sister Monica is going to go into this in more detail, but I want to just give a little bit of information firstly about how does shaitan access our hearts. Shaitan is called al-waswas al-khannas. In Surah Al-Nas, we seek refuge with Allah from shaitan, the waswas, the khannas. Shaitan whispers to us. And Abdullah ibn Abbas has said in his tafsir of Surah Al-Nas that shaitan's like standing guard over the heart of the son or the daughter of Adam, and just waiting for that heart to stop remembering Allah. And the moment that heart stops remembering Allah, it will whisper. And that whisper actually comes or takes the form or uses as a vehicle the components of the nafs that are developed in that person. So, for example, it's a lot easier if we talk about examples. So I'll use myself as an example. If in me, the part of my nafs that is overdeveloped on this given day, because it can flux, right? It can change. So on this given day, the part of my nafs that is overdeveloped is the part that is the cattle-like part. And it just wants to eat chocolate all day. And I go and I pick up the Quran and I'm like, I'm going to sit and I'm going to memorize a few verses of Quran. And I'm sitting there and then, my daughter says something to me and I get really distracted. And then I come back to the Quran and my heart is sort of not remembering Allah in this moment. I've gotten distracted and shaitan says, oh, you know what, there was some really good chocolate in the pantry. Did you forget about it? You should probably go check it out. Maybe it's gone bad. Why don't you go see if it's still there? That's what happens. In that moment, it's called ghafla. In that moment where I'm not remembering Allah, shaitan now whispers, just throws something at me. Sees if I'm going to take the bait. So shaitan uses whatever component of my nafs, whatever tendency of my nafs has become overdeveloped. And he uses that as a vehicle to send whisperings or just anything to incite me or to get me to not do what's going to bring me closer to Allah. And then Ibn Abbas says, why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala call him waswas khannas? Waswas is the one who's waiting just to throw a whisper your way. But when you remember Allah, shaitan flees. And that is what the word khannas means. The word khannas means the one who flees. So when we're remembering Allah, we're making shaitan leave our hearts and not occupy our hearts and not use, even if our nafs isn't polished and purified, not use what is in our nafs to get us distracted from the path to Allah. So I hope, does that make sense? I think that that's really helpful because a lot of times we give shaitan more credit than he's worth. Shaitan is only as powerful as we allow him to be. And he's only as powerful as those components of our nafs that have become overdeveloped from our own actions and from our own doing. So remember, this is what we are aiming for. We are aiming for a psychological system, a navigational system, where the heart is in control. And the heart is now filled with Iman. It's filled with light. You know, I've shared this story before, but I just think it's really powerful. When I was 15, I visited my grandmother in Egypt, and I went up to the rooftop of her house, and I set my alarm well before Fajr, so I went up to the rooftop, and then the city was really dark. And in that darkness, things that should have looked familiar to me, like landmarks and street signs and stores and things, I couldn't see them. They were cast in shadows. But as the light of the sun came up, I could all of a sudden begin to see the things that were there. The sun, light, illuminates our world for us. Knowledge and Iman illuminate our spiritual world. When our heart is filled with Iman, things are clear. They're not cast in shadow. They're not difficult to understand. They're not hard to discern. Everything becomes clear. When the sun comes up over the horizon, it doesn't create anything on this earth that wasn't already there. What does it do? It illuminates it. It shines a light on it so we can see it for what it really is. And I think that it's really important to think of our Iman in that way, and the knowledge that we take in to benefit our Iman, to increase our Iman, is like a light. It illuminates our spiritual dimension. It illuminates our world. And things that were really confusing now are clear. I understand. So that's why we have to just work and really focus on us improving the states of our hearts and filling them with Iman and nourishing them with beneficial knowledge and action. So I just really like this. It says, I don't need enemies. My nafs is enough. And this is true. I remember listening to a scholar from Egypt, and he was saying, we often think the nafs is no big deal, but the nafs is more dangerous to us 1,000,000 times more dangerous than shaitan. Because the nafs is always there. You remember Allah, shaitan goes away, but your nafs is still there. Your nafs is still there. During Ramadan, shaitan is locked up, but your nafs is still there. And the nafs is always with us. And there was an American football player, and he told his team, he's like, y'all, there's no such thing as the status quo. You're either getting better or you're getting worse, right? Well, that's how it is with our nafs. That's how it is with our Iman. Don't ever think that your nafs is polished and purified and you can put it over on the shelf there and just admire it. Because there is no such thing as status quo. Life is constantly changing. Life is a progression. And if you just forget about it, it's not going to stay stable and the same. It's going to get worse. If you're not actively trying to improve it, it's going to get worse. So without really taking from what Sister Monica is going to cover, I want to motivate us to purify our nafs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, as for whoever exceeded the limits and preferred the life of this world, surely his abode will be the fire. And as for whoever feared to stand before his Lord and restrain the desires of his nafs, surely his abode will be the garden, will be Jannah. فَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى. نَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى means to prevent the nafs from following its hawa. And hawa in Arabic is the same word that we use. It means desires. There's also a word that means like the wind. Right? Hawa. So when you follow that, it's like you get lost. You follow it, you don't know where the wind is going to lead you. When the wind blows a bunch of leaves across the plain, it just scatters them. When we follow our desires, that's what happens to us. We get scattered. We're not focused. We cannot journey to Allah. We can't. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by the nafs. وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. And by the nafs, and He who proportioned it, then He inspired it to understand what is right and wrong for it. He will indeed be successful who purifies it. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. And he will indeed fail who corrupts it. وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. فَلَاح, أَفْلَحَ, is actually the same word, comes from the same root of the person who's a farmer, falah. So aflaha means when you plant something and you take care of it, and then you reap, you succeed, you get the benefit of it, you succeed. So the falah is a person, is a farmer. Aflaha means that I plant the seeds and I do the work and I water the seeds and I take care of them and then I reap, I harvest the benefit. So that's the word falah. It's not a passive success. It is a very active success, just like a farmer has to work for his crop. So I want to just look at these. Some things will naturally strengthen the nafs and weaken the heart. The first one is ghafla, heedlessness. We forget why we're here. We forget where we're going. All we care about are the Krispy Kreme donuts and the coffee and the comfy couch and whatever else, and being the leader and the star of the show and taking someone else's stuff. I don't know. The thing that is everything about the nafs that you could not want. Too much food. Too much food. When we eat more than we need, we overdevelop that part of the nafs that is like a cow. And you will feel it. When you eat just what you need, you are so energetic and light, and you like spring up to pray, and you're able to wake up at night and pray. So many things are related to how we use food. Is it physical nourishment, or do we let it somehow turn into spiritual nourishment that weighs down our soul? So that's what we have to be careful of. Unnecessary talking. The Prophet, peace be upon him, warned us. He said, I warn you about too much talking without the remembrance of Allah. For verily too much talking without the remembrance of Allah will cause the heart to die. Because what happens is our nafs starts to see itself in the conversation. We're not talking now to benefit people. We're not talking now to remember Allah. We're talking just to exalt the nafs. And the more that the nafs gets exalted, the weaker the spiritual muscle of the heart. It's just like that schematic. Unrestrained glances. So the eyes and the ears, all of these lead to the heart. And when the heart sees things that are not appropriate, it puts a blemish on the heart, it weakens the heart. So this applies not just to people, but even to elements of the material world that evoke desire. So think like too much shopping. You shop all day. It's really, your nafs gets inflated. It really does. Keeping bad company. This is a surefire way to weaken the heart and strengthen the nafs. So the journey to purification of the nafs, the journey to a sound heart is a journey. It is a path. It's not something we arrive at overnight. It's not a flip of a switch. It is a lifelong process. In Arabic, the process is called tazkiyah. And it involves first looking inward and learning about the types of nafs, which is what we did today. We learned about the types of nafs. It involves looking inward now in moments of calm, in moments where you can reflect and saying, what kind of nafs do I have? What have I overdeveloped in my nafs? And then it involves now fighting against some of those desires of the nafs. When the nafs wants to do something that is not beneficial to our course in traveling and journeying to Allah, we stop it. And it might be little stuff. It might be like, I'm reading Quran, I don't need to eat chocolate. I'm not going to eat chocolate. I'm going to sit here and read my Quran. It might be that I prevent myself from getting distracted, that I don't allow my nafs to steal or occupy my thoughts when I'm in prayer. A lot of times, Sister Yasmin Mobehin, she says that one of the ways you can understand your attachments, what your nafs has attached itself to, is by examining what do you think about when you first wake up, and what is the thing you think about before you go to sleep, and what distracts you in your prayer. Those are things that the nafs now has become overly attached to. And so we try to discipline ourselves and try to lessen those attachments. So a purified nafs equals a sound heart. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, tells us there lies within the body a piece of flesh. If it is sound, the whole body is sound. And if it is corrupted, the whole body is corrupted. Verily, this piece is the heart. And we cannot achieve a sound heart if we do not purify the nafs. And we cannot purify the nafs if we do not find time to learn about the types of nafs and to reflect inward and figure out what is going on with our nafs. And then we begin the polishing process. That's when we start to take those daily spiritual showers and prevent our nafs from following its desires, from following its hawa. So that when we see our brothers and sisters in Islam, we don't stink spiritually. We radiate instead the light of Imam. And that's really what we are trying to do, inshallah. Allah does not look at your figures nor at your attire, but He looks at your hearts and your deeds. So that's really a reminder that that is the essence. That is what we will be judged on.
That's really the end of our formal presentation, and in the time that we have left, we'll open it up for questions, comments, discussion, and I do hope that people are able to take advantage of the resources from which this presentation was prepared. Really, I think, like I said in the beginning, it's helpful to have sort of some hooks to hang your knowledge on, and then to be able to go and seek more knowledge and already have a basis or a foundation to plug that knowledge into. So jazakumullahu khairan, subhanallah wa bihamdi, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. And I seek refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I would remind others of this information and forget it myself. So I pray that we are all able to benefit from it, and I don't absolve myself, like I said, from needing to know this at all. So jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.